Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. Today, we're going to cover everything regarding Cecil, the now freely given unit that we are all going to be getting with the Final Fantasy IV campaign. Let's jump into it, guys. So I will say, Cecil, from what I have heard, is a pretty underwhelming unit. However, there's a variety of reasons you might want to level him, and one of them would be that he is simply a light element UR unit. And in the future, we all know that there is going to be a light element meta. We are aware of all of the light element units that are going to be coming, and how god tier amazing they are all going to be. So being able to add Cecil onto your roster might actually be pretty useful. His primary job is Paladin of the Moon, and he does have great subjob options, particularly with Soldier, not so much with Monk. His primary weapon is going to be swords, and he can do armor, helmet, accessories. His own TMR is an interesting ability. It's an accessory that gives attack 42, defense 6, critical hit rate 12. So it's one of the first accessories that we're going to get that does give attack. Now, the ability is not too remarkable. It has attack plus 30%, magic plus 30%, and increased bravery 10 for 3 turns for allies. I'm going to say probably not worth it compared to all of the other attack buff options that we do have out there. Definitely, though, it could be worth it for the attack 42. You're going to have to weigh that against putting maybe an agility TMR on. I would say you're probably going to do the agility TMR, but there may be a situation, particularly with the critical hit rate 12 and attack 42, where maybe you want to stack this with some other stats. His mastery ability increases light attack 15 for himself. He does have negative 10% dark resistance. What's really nice about him, though, is he does have 20% slash and 15% pierce resistance. He's 10% weak to missile and magic. But in a meta that's dominated a lot by slash and piercing units right now, this is going to be really nice. His limit break, Sacred Rage, has a 67% chance to inflict slow, single target. Not the best, definitely not what you want to pour your limit break pots into. His base stats, HP is at 2,752. That ranks him 6th for base HP, which is awesome. Attack of 270, which ranks him 15th out of 101. Agility comes in at 55 at 31 out of 101. 55, a little bit low considering you're not getting any additional agility from his board. Dexterity 143, and then that's 58th out of 101, but you have to consider he gets an additional 32, and he gets Dex 20%, which will give about another 25 on there. Nothing remarkable, but it's definitely going to be a bit better than Warrior of Lights. And his luck of 142 is 41 out of 101. He does get a very hefty luck boost here of plus 75 luck. He also gets plus 30 critical hit rate from his ability board. So if you're matching this with his TMR, he is going to have a base critical hit rate of 42. Not the best, but also pretty interesting, right? It means he could have some viability in the future if you are wanting to put him in a critical hit rate party. Again, though, is that really a comp? I'm thinking no. Thank you again to Ki Sang, as always, for letting us show his video to show off Cecil's limit break. It was also showcased in the Final Fantasy IV release video that was announced in JP, which you might have seen a long time ago. It looks like it's a multi-hit attack, but I promise you it is a single attack there. Going into his support abilities here, Moon People's Blood, which is quite the name for a translated passive, gives HP 12% and defense 12. You're probably going to be setting that along with the Soldier passive for attack 60%, lower resistance is 8%. He does have access to HP up 15% if you want him to be a little bit more tanky. And his Monk sub, if you are going that route, which I would be maybe a little concerned if you are, does increase strike attack 15 for yourself. In terms of his counter abilities, you're going to want to place those who have overcome the challenges. Essentially, it's just Paladin Guard. You're going to want to set that. Fist counter, counter slash are not going to compare at all really to that. His primary job does increase agility if you are next to the opponent. So his standard 121% modifier attack is going to increase agility 25% for 1 turn to self. It's almost like quick attack, except that quick attack lowers the CT of the opponent from Titus. So kind of interesting to see that direct power creep with Titus. He gets Shining Double, which is going to be potentially a very important light chaining slashing attack, which is a 2-hit 20 AP attack. If you are going to be running any light slashing comps, or you're going to be doing any type of raiding with Cecil, I know for me, I do not have a light slash unit. Ramza is the only unit that I do not have besides Zombie Raryu. So I don't even have Thancred leveled. So there's you know, this thing where I'm like, well, light slash is definitely going to be a composition in the future. Light elements are going to be important going into the future. I'm probably going to need at least one unit that is able to join chaining parties, so I am going to rely on Cecil for that. Light's protection, increased defense 12, spirit 12, and spirit debuff resistance 100% for 3 turns to self. Defensive dedication consumes his own HP, reduces the physical damage taken 50% or 3 times for allies, but not for himself. And then Holy Knight's Sword is a 200% modifier attack, decreases the enemy's attack for 39% for 3 turns to target. I'm going to say that's actually a really powerful attack. If you look at the wide range of this attack, this is probably the attack you're going to want him to be using. Decreasing attack 39% is really substantial, and I think that's really going to be the bread and butter that you're going to be relying on. The problem is that it is a 32 AP ability. Are you going to be able to spam it? Probably not. If you do choose to run Sub Paladin, he has access, Sub Paladin of the Moon. He does have access to Divine Aura, which is going to increase max HP and restore HP raised by 20%. Lightbringer, which is going to be a single target Reaper killer. And Guardian of Dedication, which is basically going to do the same thing, except it's going to do magic damage mitigation. I think you probably will not be running Paladin of the Moon sub. I think the best sub job is most likely going to be Soldier. He is noticeably missing Drain Force here, but I think that's okay if you consider that he does have access to Hazard Form. He gets access to Paralysis Edge, Hazard Spin, Hard Slash, and Hazard Break, most importantly. Very powerful abilities, definitely worth investing in. If you are planning on having him go Hazard Break, I would potentially even consider turning Hazard Break off and just having him use Holy Knight's Sword, because the difference is 25% modification on the attack. You have a higher range on Holy Knight's Sword, and you're going to get a good perk from lowering the attack of the enemy. What you're really going to get from Sub Soldier is going to be access to Hazard Form for that attack plus 50%, and you're going to get access to Paralysis Edge, which is a pretty good ranged low AP attack. And if you need it, Hazard Spin, because he will be out in the middle of your opponents. If you're running Sub Monk, you're most likely running it for Store. He does have access to some other abilities, so he does have access to like Purify, but most of his other attacks are fist attacks. I could see Store being really powerful with Holy Knight's Sword, particularly if you're in like a live PvP situation, or in a situation where you're able to pop Store and then pop Holy Knight's Sword on the opponent. There might even be some builds where you rely on the AI using Store first. You might turn off Light's Protection and have the AI use Store into Holy Knight's Sword. Might be a really good potential route to go. Just some things to consider. I don't think Monk Sub is completely unviable. I think if you're going to be running Monk Sub, you're running it for Store and for Purify. And of course, there's going to be PvE benefits for having Purify, of course, if you're running Tower. So it's not a complete loss, but I would definitely think most people are going to be running Sub Soldier. Let's talk about gear, Espers, and VCs. In terms of gear, you do have the Lazalia Royal Guard standard issued sword. We have Nagarok, which is of course going to be normal. A Vermilion, I would recommend. Armor of Light +5, Platinum Helm +5. Either of those would be great. He does have access to equipping Ziza's Bells and the White Wolf armor. I think if I was going to put a TMR on him, I would probably put the White Wolf's armor, because I'm probably not going to be wanting to run Ziza's bells on him. He does not have access to Oldoa's TMR. The Paladin shoulder rest that we are going to be farming as well, it does have a very high HP threshold for vital. So if you're wanting to build his HP up a little bit, you could actually get plus 753 HP from the Paladin shoulder rest. That's pretty substantial, and it's one of the more powerful plus HP pieces of gear that we've seen. And then, of course, you also have access to the Saint Circlet for him to wear. Again, I would turn off the ability if you are placing that on him. In terms of Espers, you're going to want to go any sort of tanking Esper. So I would probably put Titan, Siren, Odin, oh my god, Golem. Holy shit. I have called Golem Titan for like my entire life in War of the Visions. I'm just so used to the Final Fantasy XIV Titan, and this looks just like him. Golem, Titan, Siren, Warmech, or Fenrir, any of those would be fine. If you're even wanting to go like an offensive Esper, you could put an Esper with some type of slash attack. Odin would be wonderful, but you're probably going to be putting Odin on one of your DPS. In terms of his cards, you're going to want to go for anything related to either defensive power or offensive power or slash attack power. So you can see here there is a large VC card selection that I put here. Honestly, any of them are really truly viable. Some shout outs for the lower tiers. I think Iron Giant is very powerful because it increases his slash resistance and slash resistance for your party. Missile resistance as well. And any of the defense up cards are really good. Particularly, I think the new Chocobo card would be really good on him if you don't have a very good defense card. Warmech and Odin, of course, hands down amazing. Other than that, any slash attack you can get on him and you will probably be fine. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you found this review video useful. As always, if you are planning on buying Visior, make sure you use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins, or you can go to dig.gs/offer and get my special coin offer from there while supplies last. And everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you on stream later tonight. I will be streaming from 9 p.m. Pacific until 12 p.m. Pacific time, and I will be doing polls right at reset. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.